Welcome to the Ask the Pro Show. This is where we really uncover what matters to you building your ultimate fitness business. And just before we jump into today's episode, I want to make sure that you have joined us in the Fitness Business Success Circle. I'll pop a link below for you to be able to join the free group, and so you get access to all the live streams, the guides, the programs, and really you getting the answers to the questions that you have as well. Also, there is the Fitness Business Quiz. So if you're wanting the exact step-by-step what you need to do to build your fitness business, because you might be a little confused whether you want to build your face-to-face, whether you want to build your online, or whether you want to do both, is completely up to you. I'll pop a link below for you to take the free Fitness Business Quiz so you get access to the guides walking you through that as well. Also, if you love this episode, and I hope you do, I would love for you to click like and share this out as well. But also, any questions at all, make sure you hit me up below, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on the inside. All right, Jarret, so when it comes to you being able to accelerate someone's business, accelerate your own business, how do we go through? What is it that we need to think about? What is it that people are doing wrong so we know what it is to actually start from today?
Absolutely. So a lot of startups and entrepreneurs and so forth, they're very focused on, they have great ideas, for instance, but they're focused on how do I build the bathroom on the second floor, and they don't even have the blueprint laid out in terms of the actual house or whatnot, right? So, and I've been there throughout many businesses. And what I do is I break up businesses into three pillars. The first is offer. This is basically everything that belongs to the product or the service, all your features and benefits that you offer, how you enhance the product or the service. It all comes back to what are you offering ultimately, and that's got to be very lucrative. It's got to be very attractive, and your innovative schemes there have to be off the charts in terms of studying the competition and how are you a leg up in terms of the features and benefits. But that's not all there is to business, because a lot of people think that, oh, I've got the most amazing product, but then they leave the other two pillars out, which is the second one is in inbound marketing, I call it, right? Which is your entire sales process needs to be dialed in before you even open the doors, which is basically, you know what happens when the lead comes in, how do you convert them into a customer? So there's email marketing automation, for instance, there's telemarketing, there's sales that you could do in terms of on the phone, but that whole process needs to be dialed in. But also, how do you get testimonials? How do you get referrals? The more systems you could play out in that in-house marketing, inbound marketing concept, the better your machine is going to be running ultimately. And that's more of like the foundational structure of what's going on inside your company. And then the third pillar is your outbound marketing. So you could have all these two pillars, completely set, but then we neglect to how are we getting leads coming in? And that's got to come through the form of free exposure stuff that you do, and most importantly, obviously, is paid advertising that you're going to actually do, or trade shows, for instance. How do you get exposure and word of mouth out there of this is what you do and this is your offer? And once you have all three of those pillars dialed in, you got a mega business kind of thing. But most businesses that I work with have one that's really weak. And when you fix that, the business just basically explodes. But many have two or all three that are really deficient, But
I really appreciate you kind of like putting this under the umbrella that it is, because let's just say, for instance, and I've had calls with coaches wanting to build their businesses really recently, and they're up and running, they're started, and then you ask the question, well, how are you signing on new clients? And they're really airy-fairy. It's all grey. And I'm like, hang on. So you've started a business, your livelihood, your life, your security, everything is running under this, but you've got really no idea what the focus is that you need to do on a day-to-day level to get people to know who you are, build trust and a relationship with them, have them coming to you, and then how you're going to turn them into a client. And it boggles my mind, because that's your livelihood at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? And especially when, and actually our other conversation that we're having, so when it comes to like people saying, I'll get rich later, or I'll invest later. It's like, okay, no. You need to focus on what it is to be able to build this right now for what you're doing on a day-to-day level. So when it comes to, say, the offer, because I always find this really interesting in how people get the creative juices rolling, because when somebody says, like, maybe someone asks a personal trainer, goes, why are you better than your competition? I care more about my clients. I'm like, wrong answer. you can't articulate that across, or no one cares, or no one sees, or no one really knows that as well because you're not able to get it. How do you help somebody structure their offer and be able to get this right?
Yeah, that is a great point, great distinction there, and you're absolutely right. It's things that are too hard to articulate or convey, or take paragraphs or somebody's attention for long periods of time. The marketing message just isn't there. You've got to streamline it. So if you could figure out what exactly you do down to one real sentence, what you feel like your mission, your purpose is in life, now you've got some crystal clear clarity. And, obviously the offer in terms of what exactly it is going to depend on the business. It's going to depend on the industry. It's very industry specific and business specific. But if people can't look at it from the outside and use use a control focus group, as sort of a gauge for this, your friends and family, for people from the outside, you have tunnel vision. Anybody who's running a business has tunnel vision, thinks it's the best thing in the world, but you got to really look at it from the outside and just say, do I know what they do? Just very simply. And are they better than anybody else who's doing it, just from a quick glance? So this is Warren Buffett's sort of secret to investing, which is he invests in brands, Coca-Cola and Geico, where it's just one word, exactly what they do, and they have such a presence that it's a gravitational pull for people that they don't even have to research the competition or whatnot. They just want to go with them for insurance. They just want to pick up their soda, right? So it's like you've got to either find a great niche in terms of a product that is so innovative compared to everybody else. And for many people in a service industry, if you're not a doctor or a lawyer and you do stuff like what we do, which is sell information, for instance, you're competing with Google, you're competing with YouTube. There's so much free information that's out there. Why is somebody going to actually pay you for your knowledge and your information? They're really going to buy into your personality. They're going to buy into you. And like you said, building a relationship and trust and so forth. And we could get into sort of the marketing, component in terms of the outbound marketing, inbound marketing kind of stuff. But yeah, it's got to be an articulate message that's coherent.
Okay, great answer, and I really appreciate that because the simplicity factor is so important, because so many people say, like, what makes you unique, or why people are going to choose you over somebody else. It takes them 20 minutes to get the answer through. I'm like, okay, too long. It needs to be simple, and it's great. Get other people that are outside of your world do they understand what's going on? Do they understand what your business offer really is at the end of the day? Now, when it comes to the inbound marketing, and this is something I just absolutely love, is being able to have these systems, this engine, being able to work together and being able to perpetuate upon itself. What is it that you're seeing where people go wrong with this?
So most people don't have a system built out that accounts for, here's a lead, here's somebody where they express interest. How do I collect their information? Because most people just let that lead go. So let's say that you have a landing page and there's lots of visitors to your site. Let's say out of 100, 98 or 97 people are just going to click that X eventually. So maybe 3 people bought, or 2 if you really are doing well and people know you are, and usually it's way lower than that, the conversion rate. It could be, tenths of a percent, if that. So what are you doing with those other 97 people? If you could inch them to giving your email, for instance, you give them something, of value to them. Now you could realize there's a lag between the first point of contact and an actual sale being made. And so if you could build out that entire system where you're providing lots of value, up until the point of sale kind of thing. Now you could, it's very hard to get somebody to become your customer. Usually, to switch them from AT&T to Verizon is a very difficult game. But once they are your customer, it's very easy to upsell them, get you on a bigger data plan or whatever it is, right? So the idea is, how do you get them into the door? So you need to have systems dialed out, and that means email marketing. That means touch points with call, physical. Mail is not dead. Trust me, there's many things and just seeing things with this online world, seeing things in the physical environment, it adds so much credibility. Because there's such low barriers to entry with a website that anybody could do it behind a computer, a 14-year-old kid. So we automatically have our guards up. when you see something, a billboard on a subway or whatever it is, there's a high barrier to entry to that. So our brains automatically trust that brand more. So and that's a lot of outbound marketing and stuff like that. But you obviously want to become credible in your space.
And what I love where you're taking with this as well, and this is kind of like, obviously I've covered, I'm sure you've delved deep into it, like sales funnels, okay? Lead comes through, do you know what I mean? Step 1, step 2, whatever's going in place, the sale happens. But what I see so much happening now is it's not so much as a funnel as these direct steps. It's more of an engine of where everything happens. Somebody might find you on Facebook, then they see you on Instagram, then you get them to opt in on your email, then you retarget them somewhere else, and then you've got them on Facebook Messenger. Do you know, there's so many different platforms that we can be using right now where it's omnipresent, it's being everywhere. It's like, and especially with how we can track people across online. Like if you jump onto a certain like sales page of mine, I'm instantly retargeting you on other platforms to be able to be aware of what's going on. So you're going to be top of mind of me, because obviously somebody might see you one day, but then they're a customer a completely different day, and something's happened to make that switch. So there's so much cool shit that we can be doing when it comes to inbound and outbound to actually make this engine work.
Oh, 100%, man. You hit it on the head. I mean, it used to take, I think there was a study done that it used to take, I think this was about 15 years ago, where it used to take 4 touch points to convert a sale ultimately, right? Through advertising and so forth. Now it's upwards of 15, 20 touch points before somebody trusts you enough to hand over their credit card information or whatever it is. So the exposure's got to come from somewhere. Where are you hitting those touch points? Now you could decrease that touch point if you could close somebody on one time. There are many people I've closed. They never heard of me. I had them on the phone and basically have been able to close them right there. If you're good, sales, for instance, but that's not the norm. That's not average or whatnot. And going with the law of averages, I mean, you're going to have to hit them a variety of ways, like you said, whether it's Facebook advertising and Instagram, social media and email and text, and they're getting physical mail from you, and you're infiltrating their mind and indoctrinating that when they have a specific need for that problem, they're going to go to you. A lot of times we market somebody expecting them to have the need right now, and that's not the case. So Dan Kennedy is a fabulous internet marketer. He's been in the marketing world for a long time. I follow a lot of stuff. So he articulates this really well, which is like most people run ads like this, which is, let's say that you're a magician and you do magic parties. You'll run an ad that says, hey, I put on the best birthday parties or whatever, call me. And somebody loves the ad. They love the idea. They love that person. But the kid's birthday is not for 4 or 5 months down the road. Then come December, come November, it's the kid's birthday. The guy doesn't remember whose ad he saw. He's just going to call any magician at that point. So the idea was, the best way to handle that was, how do you capture that person's information right then and there, and then how do you continually stay in their ear up until the time that they're ready to make the transaction, and that's a process that has to take place in terms of the systems.
So brilliantly put, because so much of what so many people are doing, especially with online, is trying to go for query-based search. So somebody's searching right now for something. So if I'm on Amazon and I type in fish oil, I want to buy a fish oil right now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so much of what transactions, and especially selling information, coaching and these sort of things, it doesn't happen like that. It's not query-based straight away. It's obviously, how can we start to build that relationship and have what's needed ready later? Because obviously we can talk sales another time. We've been talking for nearly an hour now. I've been loving this so much. But there's just, this is absolutely brilliant. So when it comes to these 3 pillars, we've got offer, inbound, outbound right now. What is it that you want somebody to be able to take action of as of today, right now, to be able to start wrapping their heads around this?
So basically, find out which area, if you own a business, find out which area you are totally deficient in. If you don't own a business now, but you're thinking about doing it, make sure you build out this foundation before you give up your financial stability or security or whatever it is. Build out the foundation so that this way, when you're ready to hit go, you're going to have all that built out, and you don't have to scramble to first figure this out through trial and error and so forth. But find out where you're weakest, and then it's got to be dive into as much information as possible to master what's going on. So if it's outbound marketer, you got to find the best marketers in the world who give out information. I gave you one, which is Dan Kennedy, for instance. You follow some of his stuff, and then you can figure out, a little bit more about this. If it's an offer, you got to draw up a bunch of stuff in terms of how to make your product more beneficial to the end user, which is how do you separate yourself from the competition, like we said, but with the features, the benefits, how do you communicate what it is? Maybe it's just a matter of tweaking the name. Maybe it's tweaking, the description or the packaging or whatever it is, and make that more attractive.
Perfect. Okay. I was really loving this. Okay, really good. Now, where does somebody go to learn more about you, especially because with everything that we've been talking about right now?
Yeah, so hop on jarretgrossman.com, JarretGrossman.com. I do business consulting, life coaching, and just help people live extraordinary lives.
Brilliant. Absolutely love it. I'm going to make sure that the links are going to be attached to this stuff. Jarret, we're going to be talking very soon on break because we've hit this off. Absolutely love it. You have a phenomenal evening, and thank you so much.
Thanks.
Now it's time for you to get the most out of this, and this is where I can jump in and give the answers that you need. So ask your questions in the comments below so I can personally come through and answer them for you. Plus, the best discussions happen on chrisdufay.com. So click on over to get everything that I've got there for you. And did you like this episode? Because if so, click subscribe so I can send you all the episodes to come for free straight to you. And for everything that I can't fit in these episodes, plus the free guides and coaching episodes, then click on over to chrisdufay.com now. Looking forward to seeing you soon and in the success community.